أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I am C. Rahman and this is the Master YouTube channel. Our today's topic is the Industrial Revolution. Let's start. In this article, I try to explore the industrial revolutions which changed the landscape and infrastructure of British forever. The 18th century saw the emergence of the Industrial Revolution, the great age of steam, canal, and factories that changed the face of the British economy forever. Early industry. Early 18th century British industries were generally small scale and relatively unsophisticated. Most textile productions, for example, was centered on the small workshop or in the homes of spinners, weavers, and dyers. A literal cottage industry that involves thousands of individual manufacturers. Such small scale production was also a feature of most other industries with different regions specializing in different products. Metal productions in the Midlands, for example, and coal mining in the Northeast. 18th century textile production. The new techniques and technology in agriculture paved the way for change. Increasing amount of food were produced over century, ensuring that enough was available to meet the needs of the ever-growing population. A surplus of cheap agricultural labor led to severe unemployment and rising poverty in many rural areas. As a result, many people left the countryside to find work in towns and cities, so the scene was set for a large scale labor intensive factory system. Steam and coal. Because there were limited sources of power, industrial development during the early 70s was initially slow. Textile mills, heavy machinery, and the pumping of the coal mines all depends heavily on old technology of power, water wheels, windmills, and horsepower were usually the only source available. Changes in steam technology, however, began to change the situation dramatically as early as 1712. Thomas Newcomen first unveiled his steam-driven piston engine, which allowed the more efficient pumping of deep mines. Steam engines improved rapidly as the century advanced and were put to greater and greater use. More efficient and powerful engines were employed in coal mines, textile mills, and dozens of other heavy industries. By 80s, perhaps 2000 steam engines were eventually at work in Britain. Early 18th century depiction of a steam engine. New invention in iron manufacturing, particularly those perfected by the Derby family of Shropshire, allowed for stronger and more durable metal to be produced. The use of steam engine in coal mines also ensured that a cheap and reliable supply of iron industries' essential raw material was available. Coal was now king. Factories. The spinning of cotton and the thread for weaving and cloth had traditionally taken place in the home of textile workers. In 1769, however, Richard Arkwright patented his water frame that allowed large scale spinning to take place on just a single machine. This was followed shortly afterwards by James Hargreaves' spinning jenny, which further revolutionized the process of cotton spinning. The weaving process was similarly improved by advanced in the technology. Edmund Cartwright, Edmund Cartwright's, Cartwright's, sorry, Edmund Cartwright's power loom developed in 1780s allows for the mass productions of the cheap and light cloth that was desirable both in Britain and around the empire. Steam technology would produce yet more change. Constant power was now available to drive the dazzling array of industrial machinery in textile and other industries, which were installed up and down the country. New manufacturers and early word of factory were the result of all these new technologies. Large industrial buildings usually employed one central source of power to drive whole network of machines. Richard Arkwright's cotton factories in Nottingham and Cromford, for example, employed nearly 600 people by the 1770s, including many small children whose nimble hands made light work of spinning. Other industries flourished under the factory system in Birmingham. James Watt and Matthew Bulletin established their huge foundry and metalworks in Soho, where nearly 1,000 people were employed in the 1770s, making buckles, boxes, and buttons, as well as the part of new steam engine. Though not all factories were bad places to work, many were dismal and highly dangerous. Some factories were linked to prisons or barracks where workers encountered harsh discipline enforced by factory owners. Many children were sent there from workhouses or orphanage to work long hours in hot, dusty conditions and were forced to crawl through narrow spaces between fast moving machinery. A working day of 12 hours was not uncommon, and accidents happened frequently. Transport. The growing demand for coal after 1750 revealed serious problems with Britain's transport system. Though many mines stood close to rivers or the sea, the shipping of coal was slowed down by unpredictable tides and weathers. Because of the growing demand for this essential raw material, many mines owners and industrial speculators began financing new networks of canals in order to link their mines more effectively with the growing centers of population and industry. Early canals were small but highly beneficial. In 1761, for example, the Duke of Bridgewater opened canal between his colliery at Worsley and the rapidly growing town of Manchester. Within weeks of the canals opening, the price of coal in Manchester halved. Other canals building schemes were quickly authorized by acts of parliament in order to link up an expanding network of rivers and waterways. By 1815, over 2,000 miles of canals were in use in Britain, carrying thousands of tons of raw materials and manufactured goods by horse-drawn barge. Road. Most roads were in the terrible state early in this period. Many were poorly maintained, and even major routes flooded during the winter. Journeys by stagecoach were long and uncomfortable. London, in particular, suffering badly. One wagons and carts were bogged down in poor conditions and were left unable to deliver food to market. Faced with these difficulties, local authorities applied for turnip acts that allowed for new roads to be constructed, pay for out of tolls placed on passing traffic. New techniques in road construction brought by pioneering engineers such as John Macadam and Thomas Telford led to the great road booms of the 1780s. The improvements achieved by 18th century road builders were breathtaking. By the 1830s, the stagecoach journey from London to Edinburgh took just 2 days compared to nearly 2 weeks only half a century before. This is our today's video on industrial revolution in Great Britain. Hope you like this video. Thank you for watching. Allah Hafiz.